Can you guys see everything okay? Hold on. Oh, it was all good. Sorry. All right, let me go back. All right, hi everyone. Now that the screen's full, I can't see the chat the whole time, so I'll figure out how to balance that out in a sec. I'll go back to the chat. We can see, awesome, awesome. All right, hi guys. I'm Cassie, or Queen Kerosene. That's what I go by for cosplay. And on all my socials, we're gonna have a friendly debate talk about DC versus Marvel. I'm gonna say friendly because I don't know what kind of fans are in here. If there's like super fans that will attack, I guess we're ready for you. So let me start. I guess just a little bit about myself. I really enjoy comics and the different universes, but I do prefer DC. I think DC is a lot better. Yeah, that's why I have to put it out there. We're gonna try for friendly. Let's make that the goal. I'm gonna minimize this a little bit. Can you guys see the chat on the thing? I'll take it off for now. Okay. Is it calling? All right, so yeah, just a friendly reminder. This is a friendly debate. We're hashing this out for fun's sake. We're gonna keep the comments and points as respectful as possible, please. I wanna hear your points, so please share your thoughts. You have an option to raise your hand. There's like a little raise your hand button somewhere at the bottom. Just raise your hand and I'll have someone unmute you because I do want to hear your thoughts. Like I said, I'm DC biased. Don't let me just talk on because I will just come, let me hear your points. And I'm not a fan, not an expert. So what I originally wanted, my boyfriend is the major Marvel fan. So we would have sat here and just went at it with you guys. So my knowledge of Marvel stops in some places, same with DC. So educate me, I'll educate you. It's just supposed to be fun. So please feel free to raise your hand or be in the chat and just discuss what's going on. Maybe I'm gonna have the chat open at the little side. You don't see the chat. Okay. All right, so who's in the room? Just from the show of the chat. Let me move this over here. Are there DC fans or Marvelites? And I'm only using that term. I don't like it because Google apparently has that as a term for Marvel fans. So what are you guys? DC, Marvel, undecided? Marvel for sure. Okay. I guess. We'll see why. Yeah, see, I split it into categories because we're gonna see who wins in other areas too. For me, okay. I'm gonna start in the gaming area. I don't know if many are familiar with the games, but we're gonna start light. So we're gonna see. Y'all recognize the games? We got a few known DC and Marvel games. I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom is a classic. There's multiple versions of Marvel vs. Capcom. I haven't played that in a long time, but I know that's a favorite. It's like nostalgia for a lot of people. We have the new PS4, not PS4, the new Avengers game that came out last year. The Avengers game, I bought it for my boyfriend, watched him play, was not interested in it. Seemed real boring. It's wonderful. Sorry. Arkham series. Yeah, I enjoy the storyline with Arkham Knight. I enjoy the storyline with Injustice 1 and Injustice 2. That's my favorite. I like fighting games. I know a lot of people are like, it's just a Mortal Kombat like knockoff, but I enjoy it. And it's like I get to play and be these different characters I really appreciate. So, oh, I meant, okay, Marvel vs. Capcom, okay. It is a good game. I will agree with that one. It's not bad. Avengers just wasn't as, I don't know, it just didn't do much just watching the gameplay. It takes the story, and I thought it was just a little slow, but I don't know, if someone's played it and wants to share what they feel free. Does anyone have anything they want to say about the gaming? I feel like it might be a little balanced here, but I definitely enjoy DC's games more. So what do you guys think? It was okay. Oh yeah, I forgot the new Spider-Man game came out in the last year too, and I know everyone loved that. And all the what's the word? Downloadable content that they added later. I've heard only good things about the latest Spider-Man game. Ultimate Alliance. Okay. Yeah, I want to say DC wins in this area. It's just a lot more fun. The story is a lot more storyline in general, you know, with DC, it's a lot more fun. I haven't played Teen Titans game. When you said that, the first thing I thought of was going back to Cartoon Network years ago and playing like the Battle Blitz Teen Titans game. I don't know of any other Teen Titans game, but I enjoyed that. I liked that a lot. Yeah, there's hit and miss with these. I think so. Yeah, all those games, I miss those. I'm a 90s baby, just a heads up. So it's like I got to experience those games and all the awesome DC shows and stuff growing up. So that's where I get a lot of my knowledge from. Oh, I did have a poll actually. If you guys want to do this little survey, hold on a second. I forgot. Here, I'm gonna copy the survey and put it in the chat. We can go over at the end. Let me get the chat back. Where'd the chat go? So let's see where you guys' minds are in terms of what you think about each category and also overall. Go back to the view. All right, I think we're good with games. So next, comics, which, like I said, my knowledge is limited in some areas. What I have heard is Marvel apparently does a better job with linking everything together. Like they'll throw in an Easter egg all the way at the beginning here and then come back with it a few chapters later. And so they've apparently always been good with that, but DC does the same thing. So I guess it's just people are more familiar with reading the Marvel comics for some reason, but DC actually came first. DC came a few years before Marvel. They had started with Superman and Batman. And then Marvel came along. And funny enough, you know, some characters DC had already made, Marvel started making some same characters. So, oh, you can't see the link? Oh, I'm so sorry. I did send it to the wrong. Okay. Now, sorry, sent it individually. Check out the link, put your thoughts. There's like a one long response at the bottom. Give me your best, whatever point you want to make or jab. I'll take it. I'll read some of them. But someone give me their thoughts about the comics. How are we feeling? Anyone a big comic background on Marvel or DC? I know a few, like I'm familiar with Killing Joke. I have a copy of it. Both. Can't say both. I like DC's large stories. Okay. You can say both. I'm not like, oh, sorry, the slide moved. I'm not gonna say, honestly, they're both really good, but I feel like with DC, there's the characters. Like I love the array of characters and how they've always tied in back to each other. Marvel's characters, they're not as memorable to me. Yeah, the Spider-Man comics, I have not read. Never heard anything bad though. So I'm gonna I'm gonna assume they're not that bad. No one wants a voice. Do I have the raise hand option? No, okay. Let me see. Anyone else's thoughts on it? So it's a House of X. Some long-term plans. Yeah, I think DC long-term, they're always thinking of plans, and then they always go into these different stories. The movies, I want to say they do list, sometimes they go a little off from the comics, but for the most part, they do. Like, for instance, with Infinity War, or even Endgame, they changed up how that should have ended a little differently. But for the most part, I want to say they do stick with it. I wasn't aware about Hawkeye being deaf in the comics, actually. All right, well, I'm going to conclude here that DC is the better one here. Because like I said, with the characters, with the villains, their villains are overall better. Which keeps the story interesting. Like, of course, we're here for the superheroes, but what's a superhero without their supervillain? And I think that's what keeps it interesting. Yes. I think that's fair too. Hold on. I keep making the chat go back up. I'm sorry. I also have a cat who's pressing on the back of my laptop. What makes a good hero or villain? So with the villain, they have to have a good story. Like, just a chain of events that got them to the point of where they cracked and decided, well, forget everyone. I'm just gonna do me and be bad. Like, I don't want to go on to the movies because we're in the comic section, but like say with the Joker movie, how we watched his just regular life and everyone trashing on him and everything he went through, and then to the point where he snapped one day, and now he's this Joker. Now he's a bad guy. Like, there was a whole buildup, and I feel like DC is always let you see the buildup, always giving you that story. And the making it a good villain is you have these good reasons, and you just don't exist. Like with Marvel, I feel like most of them just came to be like, well, I'm just gonna be bad. Yeah, DC villains for sure. My least and favorite DC character. Favorite character is actually Poison Ivy. I love her. Like, to me, she's a villain, but she's like, I mean, she does bad things, but I'm like, she's trying to save her plants, eco-friendly. I'm about it. Just, maybe don't kill anybody. But to me, she's a good villain with a purpose. Least favorite. I haven't thought about that, to be honest. Yeah, I like the heroes a lot with DC, and especially because they have all these sub teams. Like, Batman has his whole squad. Superman has a little squad. Wonder Woman, like, they have their sidekicks, and they're all these little teams, and then they come together. I don't know much about Marvel having squads like that and sidekicks now when I think about it. Like, I can only think X-Men, branching off into teams like that. So correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, the Bat family is cool. Batman's a little controlling, but they're cool. All right. The heroes who refuse to kill. I feel like Batman's a little dumb for not killing Joker. Yeah, Joker needed to, you would have saved a lot of trouble, saved a lot of lives if you took Joker out. So I don't fully agree. Like, I feel like as a hero, if you can avoid it, yeah, it makes sense to avoid killing the bad guy. But that's a bad guy that's never going to stop. That one it's just never stopped. So I agree. Joker Joker should get gotten killed ASAP. All right, let's move on to animated TV, which DC's gonna win because I mean, I presented to you these amazing shows here. I'll touch on Marvel's side real quick. So with Marvel, I enjoyed X-Men. I find X-Men, like, that's my favorite part of Marvel. I enjoy all the different superpowers. Like, I just watched some of the X-Men movies over the other day, and it's like, when you think of what kind of superpowers you want to have, it's like X-Men shows all these different backgrounds, all these different mutants that have the powers that people ideally are like, yeah, I want to have telekinesis. I want to walk through walls. And just the animated version, X-Men, I thought it was great. I appreciate Wolverine. The Avengers show, not really interested in it. I've tried. My boyfriend likes it. That's his bias. And then Ultimate Spider-Man, I didn't watch. I think there's only one Spider-Man show I watched, and I can't recall which one it was. Wasn't horrible, but nothing compares to these DC shows. Yeah, the 90s TV shows for DC, great. And Harley Quinn is honestly so funny. If you guys have not watched it, I still need to finish it. It is hilarious. Let me move this out of the way. It is hilarious. Ooh. The focus on just Harley and just separating her from Joker and just introducing the Batman villains in another light. They did a great job. It's so funny. Gems upon gems, better animation. Yeah, I feel like Marvel plays it safe, and it's a little too happy for me. Not that kids shouldn't have superhero shows or anything. Guess it's like, as a grown-up, I'm like, I'm trying to endure the show, but I'm like, I need some of the dark parts in it. Like, they're villains. They're gonna do some bad stuff, So I do feel like Marvel is a lot more kiddish. They don't get dark and crazy. Justice League, can't say much about Justice League. All right, and I can't say I have. The only Batman show I'll say I liked was Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond was good. I love the Joker's design in Batman Beyond. I thought that was maybe the best Batman animated. But Young Justice, have you guys watched Young Justice? Please answer this. I need to make sure you guys have watched Young Justice and you are educated on the best show ever. A little. It is awesome. There are 3 seasons of Young Justice. I highly, highly recommend it. It incorporates all the villains. Yes, 10 out of 10. I finished season 3 finally like a few weeks ago, and of course they left on another cliffhanger. But the way they incorporate everybody, just, I don't even know how to go on with it without spoiling things. But DC is good with making fun of themselves sometimes. I'm gonna spoil it if I say certain things. I just love that show so much, so I highly recommend. If you haven't seen a DC show somehow, or need something new to watch, Young Justice is amazing and it's funny. While you'll see every character, their sidekicks, like, everyone exists. Like, that was a Teen Titans show I wish I had more of when I was younger. But I mean, the regular Teen Titans on Cartoon Network was decent too, but Young Justice is the one that's great. Maybe that's the one I watched, Spectacular Spider-Man. Yeah, with Aqualad, that Black Aqualad version too. I mean, I feel like they give him shine throughout the whole 3 seasons when you watch it. He's I think he became, see, that's giving away the show. I hate to give away the show. I hate spoilers, but watch it. They give him a lot of great attention. I love it. And then there's Static Shock, I put at the bottom. I wish Static Shock could come back. I think I saw something about Michael B. Jordan. He's going to be directing a Static Shock movie. And so I need to look more into that. Yeah, Static Shock gave you different representations. It was, like I said, like with development, especially with DC, like I loved that. He's not, no, I don't think he's gonna play Static Shock. I think he's just producing it. But Static Shock was a classic. It was all DC has my heart with these shows. These were grade A shows. Yeah, okay, he's just producing. Okay. I don't know anything about the casting for that. I don't know if they've gotten that far, but so can we agree DC's good with animated? Yeah, the character was good overall. The Static Shock character, they bring in Young Justice. I wish they brought a little more attention to, but still loved it. Yep. Yeah, I don't think Marvel could, yeah, it's not their place. All right, so I'll go from animated. 1 second. I hope this is not blocking you guys, sorry. What's the question mark for? Oh, if you're referring to what I'm saying, blocking you guys, it's the stuff I have that I can view, seeing myself in the chat. But I think you guys said you can't see the chat. Yeah. Okay. All right, movies. This is the big one. If you want to talk, did anyone want to raise their hand, verbalize how they feel about this? Obviously, Marvel has done very well with the major movies. They have done well. As of recent, Endgame dropped back to #2 grossing film because it was released in China. So it dropped back down. Avatar happens to be another movie I really love, so I didn't mind that. But it was still very good. It pulled on my heartstrings. I really love Gamora and that whole, like, I've never cried in a theater from a superhero movie till I watched Endgame or Infinity War. And parts of Endgame had me emotional, but not as emotional as Infinity War. Like I had planned to go in there and my heart get broken. Justice League. So thankful for Zack Snyder this week and releasing that new cut. I started watching it. I haven't finished. I was hoping I'd finish before I came and sat down, but I'm going to try to finish it tonight. But I've already heard amazing things about this new Snyder cut. It's 4 hours long. And from what I've watched already, it's what I needed. Like when they first released it, I wish they released it before. This is what we needed. This is all the coverage, all these points filled in. Oh, there's a hand up. The new cut is really good. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. You can, let me hear what you have to say. What's up?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess just from with just talking about the Snyder cut, it was really good. So I'd like to say this first thing about the original Justice League.
Okay.
It wasn't what everybody expected. I think it was okay. I watched it multiple times and I'm just like, maybe it's just nostalgia and watching the Justice League come together in that way. It was a different way. I'm not saying it was the greatest thing on the planet, but it was good. But this Snyder cut, it was, yeah, they fixed everything. They kind of closed a lot of gaps and made it really good. So, but in this category for Marvel, but DC also, we forget about the Christopher Reeves Supermans and the earlier Batmans, like that kind of built it to get to this point too. So that's all I want to say.
Okay, that's actually, I forgot about the Christopher Reeves Superman. You're right, that's a good point. I tried to think of so many movies. There's so many for both sides.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Yeah, but see, I'm glad. I can't wait to finish Justice League. Like I didn't think it was horrible. Because of course I enjoyed it, the nostalgia, but I mean, I did think it could be better.
No, definitely. No, there's no disagreement. Like after reading the comics and like watching the movie, it's like there's a lot of gaps here they didn't fill. But the Snyder cut kind of took some of those different universes and some of those different comic runs and like threw them in there. And Snyder, it was amazing. Like it it rivals what the first release of the Avengers was. It rivals that. I would say that. I wouldn't say it runs in the same concept of Infinity War, but I don't think it reached that point yet. But that's just because Marvel had like 17 years or 10 years to figure everything out to build up to that. So it kind of wasn't fair. It's an unfair comparison.
That's what I give Marvel. They had a very organized buildup. They have a whole phase. Like when you go on, I already knew about the phases, but especially when you go on Disney Plus, it lays out the phases for you, and it's just like this was a long plan, and they had a long time to get it together, and they did it. So I can't argue that Marvel's bad here. The Player 5 want to say something?
Yeah, so I feel like because there are so many movies, right, that anybody could find any reason to love them. So I just kind of look at the highest highs and the lowest lows of each one. Like when I think of like the lowest lows of Marvel, I think like Fantastic Four. And when I think of the lowest low of DC, honestly, might hurt some people's feelings, but I think of like the Justice League movie. The difference is Marvel didn't try and disrespect me with a 4-hour cut of that movie. I'm not watching that. Like, I'm going to have to get really bored to watch 4 hours of a newly moved around movie that I didn't like for 2 hours.
You're not giving it. That's not even giving it a chance.
Here's the thing. For 4 hours of my life, my job got to pay me for that. For 4 hours of my life, you're going to have to do, like, I have to see better reviews. Right now, a lot of people are coming out with it's good, it's okay, it's better than it was. Like, I need to see it blew me out of the park for me to give them 4 hours of my life.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Infinity War 3 hours?
Yeah, but that's the difference. Now let's go to highest of the highs, right? DC's Black or Dark Knight Rises, everybody loved it. Awesome. However, Endgame, Infinity War, 3-hour-long movies, honestly, we could argue one giant 6-hour-long movie was a cultural phenomenon. You know what I mean? Like, you can't stare in a room and then just snap without somebody not knowing what you're referencing, right? It has changed the world as far as like people's thoughts and ideas. Like you said, it's like the number 2 and 3 movie. This is like a worldwide phenomenon, and that's the highest of their high. Batman got really good high, but we couldn't argue that. We could argue it's a better film. We couldn't argue that it's a bigger piece to pop culture than Endgame is, off numbers alone. But that's all.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. I mean, the time, like, I think you should give it a chance. The time argument, it's a 1 hour difference from the movie. Based on all the reviews I'm hearing, it's worth it. Watch it in parts like I'm watching it. I'm in part 2. But I hear what you're saying too. It's definitely like a cultural phenomenon. It's like, yeah, everyone should know what you're talking about. Like, you can't spoil it at this point. But they had so many years, like I said, to get it together. DC didn't seem to plan it the same way. So I guess that's Marvel got them there, but give it a shot, please. Justice League deserves the same respect. Anyone else have something to say? Let me go to the
comments. Yeah, so I just want to kind of follow up. If we talking about lowest lows for DC, I'm sorry. That most recent Wonder Woman 1984, they can go ahead and jump that. They can throw that one away. It was ridiculous. And what's the worst part is I think Wonder Woman, the one they most recently came out, was probably one of the best movies DC has recently come out with. It was so good, well built. They ran through a proper story. It built her up. Then when we got to 1984, that thing was trash. It was horrible. It was ridiculous. It just, like, she was, basically, yeah, it was just so many things wrong with that movie. It was so bad. So if we're talking about that lowest low, that's the lowest low. Just Justice League, I give Justice League a Golden Globe. If we're talking about the difference between that and Wonder Woman 1984, that's what I'm thinking. And still, I go back. I know what Player 5 is saying, right? Justice League is 4 hours. I just went through it last night. I just sat through and watched the 4 hours because I grew up on DC, so I wanted to see it get done right.
Right.
But in Marvel's case, they still had movie on top of movie on top of movie on top of movie to build up to get to that point. And I think we forget about that. And we say, oh, look how good Infinity Wars or Endgame is. And if you've read the comics and gone through that stuff and seen it built the way it is and how Kevin Feige did all that work, you can't, like, it's just not a fair comparison. Now, WB should have stepped up to the plate, but I mean, they didn't. They put they with Wonder Woman 1984 out. So I mean, that's the problem there. They don't have that confidence out from everybody to be like, this is gonna be a good movie. So yeah, that's all.
Someone definitely dropped the plate with the order and planning of DC. I guess they just never had that big plan like Marvel's writers did. But yes, I painfully agree. Wonder Woman 1984 was not good. I don't know what happened between the first movie and that second movie, but I was very disappointed and glad I didn't end up seeing it in theaters. I will be very honest. I'm glad I just watched it from the comfort of my living room to judge it accordingly. The villain, what's his name? I forgot what the main villain was, but I'm just like, that's not who was I expecting. That is not the storyline I was going with. I was there for Cheetah. Disappointed. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know if it would be spoiling it for anyone, but that is not what was given to me. So definitely disappointing. That is their latest low for sure. They already announced that there's going to be a Wonder Woman 3. We'll see what happens. I know based on what I'm seeing on my social feed, apparently Wonder Woman's getting a lot of extra love this week from this new Snyder cut. So maybe everyone can forget 1984 for a bit, hopefully. But I hate it. It wasn't good. I get it on bootleg, yeah. With the other movies, I did mention Fantastic Four because I feel like Marvel likes to forget they tried that twice. Didn't work out. And it's just also funny how Chris Evans, and Michael B. Jordan, they were in those two Fantastic Four films and they got totally new characters recasted. I thought that was so funny. Deadpool, I love Deadpool. Great comedic film. They're great there. Obviously, he's not incorporated with the Avengers. They put him with the X-Men, but it's still awesome. Silent movie. Joker. I forgot who the director for Joker was. And if they're gonna incorporate him back towards these other films. That confused me a bit. The fact that we have that Suicide Squad Joker, and then we have this new Joker. DC got messy there. I hate to admit that it got messy there. Their planning is not as elaborate and built like Marvel's. So we're gonna see what happens there. Yeah, I think I've heard something about Jared Leto. They're not casting him back. I didn't think his Joker was bad. Very different. Didn't think it was bad, but for Suicide Squad, a little bit too much for a movie that was on Suicide Squad. But obviously they put Joker in there because everyone loves a Joker. Not the best place to put him. So I feel like they just threw him in there. That one gets tricky. And then Shazam was okay. It was just okay. So Justice League just needs a little organization. But with the movie this week, I think we're making a comeback. And then I have hope we're coming back. So what do you guys think overall? And if anyone has any more thoughts, please let me know. Raise your hand or unmute. But I guess who wins here, Marvel or DC? Can't come back from one movie. It's a step. I already knew the answer, but it was worth a shot. It's a step. We're gonna slowly bring it back together. I know for the next Suicide Squad movie, what's that director's name? The guy who did the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I think he directed the next Suicide Squad movie that's coming out in 2022. So I'm excited for that and him taking it over. Snyder was a good director. I'll give it to Marvel. I guess. It's yeah. We're gonna come back. Like I said, I believe in it. Not off the one movie. It's gonna take a few movies, obviously, but we're gonna come back. Shazam was fun. It was fun. I like Billy Batson. I always am. The other versions of Billy Batson were typically younger than that teenage one we got in that movie. But the teenage version, I thought it was fun. But I liked like anytime they showed him, especially like in the animated, how much of a kid he is. He's so much younger. But it was decent. All right, we'll move on from movies. Marvel won this one. Did I miss a slide? Hold on. I talked TV with you guys, right? Did we talk about the TV? Oh, I'm so sorry. I was about to say I knew something was missing. All right, so TV live action. So Marvel got some points recently because WandaVision was actually pretty nice. I did not expect them to do that well with WandaVision. I reluctantly watched it, and I was only watching it because everyone was going on about it, especially in the cosplay community. So WandaVision got them some points there. But DC has been doing the TV thing, been doing like CW. These are just some, of course, like Supergirl, The Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Gotham, Smallville, Batwoman, the Titan show that's on HBO Max. I think there's just so much content that it's just like, I feel like Marvel got into it later or never really paid much attention to the TV side. How long ago was Smallville? That's not too dated, but yeah, it's just, they're winning. They're good. I know Batwoman got canceled. I don't think that show did good specifically, but here, DC's always done good. They still bring in people. They mention all the bigger heroes still. So yeah, I'm not gonna forget, Marvel does have Punisher, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil, Iron Fist. I thought was boring, but they do have those. Punisher is actually one of my favorites. I really enjoyed Punisher. So there's some points there for Marvel. And then, of course, they ended up bringing them together. I forgot what the show is where they brought them in all together, but still, they connect. Daredevil was good too. Like, those specifically were good, but they were new. They put them in back to back, trying to catch up with DC is how I felt. The Defenders, yeah, the Defenders was not good. I didn't bother to watch it, to be quite frank, because I didn't bother to watch Iron Fist after one episode. Totally bored. Yeah, I didn't give it a shot because I'm like, oh, you're gonna incorporate Iron Fist guy, and he seems really boring. And then the fact that they weren't gonna continue it, because I guess that's when Disney Plus was announced, so Netflix no longer can continue those shows. I think that's how that worked. Sorry, I missed a comment. Yeah, Arrow and Flash it's just great. Incorporating the different Earths. They've done so much in those shows that they're really good. I feel like it's hard to compare Marvel and DC with them. Daredevil's good. Jessica and the Punisher are the only real contenders. Not even Luke Cage. I'm not gonna consider Luke Cage. Luke Cage wasn't bad. This is me trying to not be too biased and give Marvel some credit. Okay, yeah. See, Cage was all right. But I've heard good things about Agent of Shields. I know my boyfriend really loves the show. I find it boring. Apparently, it's not that bad. But like I said, they're not competing as well with what DC's already been establishing with these shows. Since Smallville, DC has held the TV live action down. I didn't think Luke Cage was bad. I mean, of course, it's like, yeah, I do love the fact that he was a Black main character, but I thought it was decent. And then the Jamaican villain, I'm Jamaican descent, so I was like, okay, I was feeling it for multiple reasons. I could see Marvel putting up a good fight here with TV, like I said, because now we have Falcon and Winter Soldier was released yesterday. I'm gonna wait a few weeks before I start watching it because I hate waiting for weekly episodes. But I feel like they're only gonna do good because obviously Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision connect back to their big movie scheme. So it's like that's not even fair. You needed your movies to do that with these TV shows. So they could compete, but not as genuinely. Yeah, DC has it here. Anyone want to say something to argue here? Bushmaster was funny. What did Player 5 say exactly? Oh, I just saw the out of pocket comment. My mom loves S.H.I.E.L.D. and watched the whole series twice, but she also owns all of Smallville. Well, that says a lot. It was Agatha. Yeah, DC wins here. I think we could conclude that, right, guys? TV DC won. I can move back from TV. I think that's the only one I accidentally skipped. DC for now. I think DC forever. All right, let me see. Oh, now the heroes and the villains. The characters are why we just love both these universes, obviously, right? I don't have favorite superheroes. And I was questioning that. I said that to a friend yesterday too. I realized I don't have any favorite superheroes. I have all these villains that I actually just enjoy. And I feel like it's because they make the story. Especially with DC, the villains are so memorable. They're so Vandal Savage, Deathstroke, Lex Luthor, Joker, Poison Ivy. I appreciate so many storylines, especially Vandal Savage. I found Vandal Savage very interesting. But they're who make up the both universes. Like the Avengers are cool and all, but we don't really learn more about the smaller superheroes in Marvel, I feel like. And so it's like I don't know, they don't give attention to everybody. I find that kind of not as interesting. They focus on these main people. When DC has like all these side heroes that are still in the Justice League, but not as prominent. Like Green Arrow, like Black Lightning. They just have such good characters in general, and the story development is so good. Someone feel free to argue, especially on this topic. And actually, I want to challenge someone if they're up for it. If you really know your Marvel heroes or your DC heroes, I have a test for you. Is anyone up for that? I'm going to try to be fair. I swear it's not a scary question. You might stumble on it, but I just want to prove something. You'll try. Okay. So you get okay. So first question, or you're Marvel or DC?
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to defend Marvel because I mean I guess earlier there was like, there's no I think you said there was no sub squads for in Marvel, and I was like, there's actually quite a few.
Name
like
them.
sub squads for Marvel.
Yeah.
You got X-Force,
Okay.
Alpha Flight, the Illuminati, like what else? There's a bunch of them. I can't remember them. I just remember like characters out of those smaller groups, like Doctor Strange's group. I forget what they call. I think there's like the Sorcerer Supreme. It's like the Sorcerer Supreme group, because so if I just take like Doctor Strange has like this smaller character. His name is Dr. Voodoo. Not Dr. Voodoo, Brother Voodoo. Brother Voodoo is like a Haitian cat. He's a Haitian descent. and he pretty much like he becomes the Sorcerer Supreme like after a while. But that's like in the cut, like you gotta look for that. But it does pop up in like that kind of string. So it's kind of the same like with DC. Like some of these strings, you just gotta follow them through to be able to do that. But like as far as like yeah, I'll try that test now, I guess, is what whatever the test
Well,
that you
let me
want.
be honest, maybe I need to brush up on the squads, because I think I have heard like they kind of have teams, but it's not as prominent. I feel like you have the Teen Titans or just the Titans or all of like the vigilantes that belong to Green Arrow and Batman. Like, so I just feel like it's not as known. But okay, question is, so in 30 seconds, I want you to name 5 Marvel villains that aren't from Spider-Man and from these major movies. And if that's too hard, just say, don't say Thanos. How about just Spider-Man and Thanos? No
So
Spider-Man.
not from Spider-Man and not from Thanos. And you said villains. And you said villains from Marvel.
From Marvel.
From Marvel. Okay. You have Kang the Conqueror.
Okay.
Who else is there? They're like right there. What's his name? It's not Bulldozer. It's so it's like a group of 4 of them. They're called like, it's the Demolisher. Who else is there? Trying to think. Big people.
I'm timing you, by the way.
I know you are. That's it's kind of tough. I'm not gonna lie about that. It is kind of tough for Marvel because of these bigger ones, but they're there. They are there.
Okay, so, but they're not memorable.
No,
they're there, but they're not memorable.
Yeah, they always fall under like the big person. They always do.
And to make it fair, so now name 5 DC villains that aren't Batman villains.
That aren't Batman villains.
Yeah.
DC villains. General Zod. That's from Superman. We also have obviously Darkseid.
Right.
I'm trying to think of some other ones, villain wise, from DC. Is obviously you mentioned. I'm not gonna mention the ones that have already been said, right? Like Joker or Poison Ivy or any of those.
Yeah.
Hard with this right. Catwoman. Does she count though? As a villain?
She's more Batwoman. I mean Batman. Yeah.
Yeah.
I put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. It's fine. It's fine.
But that's how to me, that's what I have to think of, because like, especially because I know so many, like a lot of the favorites that I've admired are Batman villains. And then I have to remember, okay, who are the villains without Batman? And there's still a lot. There's still like Vandal Savage, Solomon Grundy. Oh, that might go back to Batman. Lex Luthor, Deathstroke. There's quite a few really memorable ones. With Marvel, I just found out about Gravitron because I tried to give the animated Avengers show a chance. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Gravitron, but he's like really overpowered. Like the man can control gravity. And I'm like, that's a pretty big superpower. And I've never heard of that bill until recently. And Marvel has that just sitting there under their belt. So
player 5 now jogging the memory, jogging my memory now. Now if I go down like the Doctor Strange timeline, like if you think about Dormammu, Mordo, who else? There's a few demons that he fights in that one. And then like Galactus, like he was just saying, Doctor Doom. How did I forget Doctor Doom out of Marvel? That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. From Marvel, Doom, the classic line from Doom, he is no man's second choice. Yeah. No man's second choice. But yeah, basically what player 5 is saying. Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
They're there.
Yeah, Doctor Doom is memorable. Like that's Doctor Doom and Galactus for sure. That's memorable. Those are memorable characters. That's on my fault. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's I put you on the spot too, but it's just like I realized though when we talk about villains, we talk about those main ones we're knowing from the movie, from Batman. So I'm like, I just had to make it fair in terms of don't name the ones we all know. But thank you for giving that a shot. All right, we are cutting close to time. I'm also on the next panel, so I do want to make sure we get enough time for everyone. But how are we feeling overall? Anyone learn anything? Anyone's mind change on anything? I feel like I didn't change any of your mind. It's not enough time to change anyone's mind. I feel well informed. That's great. I can look at the survey really quick and then I'm gonna let us go. Close. My screen is not responding. One moment. Okay. Oh, 17 responses. Let's see what you guys did. Better in animated, DC. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Better in live action, TV. Y'all still said Marvel? Really? Okay. Okay. I guess. Character development, Marvel. Okay, guys. DC got video games. I hope I'm not going too fast as I scroll. Hold on, let me open this chat back up. You guys can't see it? I'm so sorry. Or no, you can't. The link, I had posted the link earlier. It should be way up more in the chat. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to change somebody's mind when we're stubborn about our choices. Agreed. I've talked these things over with my boyfriend lots of times. Like I said, if he had been here, it would have been an argument. And we realized we cannot get the other to really see each other's side. Still on Marvel side as much. I won't get another Marvel versus Capcom. Okay. What else? My thing is lagging. Oh, thank you for posting it again. Oh, it changed already. Oof, okay. I'll go back up a little and see what the difference is now. All right, so DC still better in animated, better in live action, Marvel. Character development was still Marvel. Okay. Better in video games, DC should be. Better in comics, Marvel. Can't give much opinion there. Relatable characters, Marvel. I forgot to discuss that. I don't agree. Very much don't agree. How could Marvel's characters be so relatable? Like DC legit has people who lived regular lives coming off the street. Like, anyway, we won't get into it now because we don't have the time. But okay, you guys thought that was more relatable on Marvel's side. Better in major movies. None of you could vote for DC though? Okay. Okay. Whatever. And the winner overall is Marvel. I got 10 responses, I think. Oh, I did. Okay, so I added who's the overall winner specifically right before we started, because some people who wanted to put their opinions and couldn't be here, I had them take the survey. But okay, I guess y'all still on the Marvel side. And I know I have some of your comments here that we won't have time to go over. But when I did brief through some of them, oh wow. Maybe I'll talk about them on my Instagram. I know some people are very salty about Superman. I thought that was funny, but that'll be for another day. We can go through that. I agree. Superman is so relatable. All right, for the sake of time, I will have to close this out. But thank you guys for sitting with me and discussing this. I hope I got you thinking a little bit. Be open-minded to watching Justice League. 4 hours is long, but you can do it. It's like binge watching any show on Netflix. You'll do that anyway. So please give it a shot. Thank you so much. Let me get out of here so we can set up for the next panel.